Alright, we're back with number 71 to 75 of my countdown. Officially making the first quarter of my list done. So we have a lot of good stuff to come. Some of that's going to be in this video right now. So make sure you stick around and see what my picks are. As always, make sure you check the description because I have all the previous videos and the rules for this challenge down below. Number 75, Blue Sky, Black Death, NOIR. The first time that I ever heard this record, it was such an emotive and uplifting experience. I don't know if I'll ever replicate it again. Something clicked in my brain that didn't just make me fall in love with this album, it unlocked my deep love for down-tempo instrumental music in a way that it had never been appreciated prior. Blue Sky Black Death are a production duo from Seattle. They no longer make music under this name, which is an absolute tragedy. It's up there with Simon and Garfunkel's breaking up, in my opinion. That being said, they're still making awesome music as side projects, so I'm still following both members. They gave us a lot of good stuff to work with, though. Going back to the beginning of their career, they were working with a lot of underground rappers. But I think where they really hit their stride is when they just started making their own beats that were just transcendent. Their beautiful, heavenly sonic soundscapes are just, they pull emotion out of you in a way that I can't even explain unless you sit down, close your eyes, and listen. This album, NOIR, and the follow-up, Glaciers, which was the final studio album before they ended things, are both just wonderful. And I almost put Glaciers, but NOIR, being the first one I heard of theirs, holds a special place in my heart. I managed to pick up the limited version, which Sly Vinyl pressed. It was limited to 500, it's on colored vinyl. And it's this beautiful gatefold, really nice packaging. And I will always cherish this record as one of my favorite in my entire collection because when I listened to it, where I was in my life, what it unlocked for me musically, this is just a very special album, and I'd advise you trying to track it down if you can. Number 74, Dashboard Confessional, The Swiss Army Romance. I know if you don't know their music, it's easy to hate on Dashboard Confessional, just by concept alone. If you haven't listened to them outside of the Vindicated song off of the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack, you probably don't realize that they have a lot of amazing music, especially in their early output. I say they, but this is mostly the project of Chris Carrabba. He occasionally has people playing with him, but this is his brainchild, especially this album. It's not just emo drivel, it's emotional in the best way, but absolutely poetic and relatable. It's some of the most heartfelt songwriting within the genre, in my opinion. This genre often produces albums that are kind of repetitive, but this album, every single song could be the single, every single song could be my favorite, and it changes with every listen. And every time I listen to the album, I find something new I love about it. I think that right now my favorite track is A Plain Morning, so that's a great one to start with. But you can really just listen to it front to back. It's not that long. It's, I think, 30 minutes, give or take, but everything is worth listening to. The follow-up to this, The Places You Have Come to Fear the Most, is another excellent record, but parts of the songs feel unfinished. It almost feels like it was meant to be longer. That one's even shorter than this. And I just feel like this is a better cohesive piece, which his first album knocked it out of the park. Great job, Chris. I have an original copy. It is very out of print. I'm wondering if it's going to get a repress soon because I know he just recently got the rights to most of his catalog back. He's re-recording some of his records, which is kind of cool. I'm happy to have an original, but I'd love to one day get a hold of that ridiculous 7-inch box set. That's a giant Swiss Army knife where they come out. It's just, it's a novelty, but I want to have it. Number 73, Janelle Monae, the ArchAndroid. When this album came out, Janelle Monae had not risen to worldwide acclaim the way she has now, but I think this is the best thing she's ever done. Over multiple suites, this album plays out like a musical, and that's exactly what she intended. It's a concept album about Cindy Mayweather, which is an android character she created, and whether or not you're following the story, this is an absolutely worthwhile listen front to back. It's nearly 70 minutes, and I will honestly tell you that every single second keeps your attention and surprises you as it navigates through just about every genre. A whole dose of neo-soul and funk, jazz, glam, synth pop, and even classical at times. You have no idea what you're going to be listening to, and that's great. Eclectic barely scratches the surface when talking about this record. Songs like Faster, Tightrope, and Come Alive are perfect singles, super catchy and fun. And then songs like Neon Valley Street and Baba Baya are a little quieter, a little more introspective. Wonderland is a saccharine overdose in the best way, and Make the Bus features Of Montreal and might as well be an Of Montreal song if you listen to it. Very interesting inclusion on the album, and I wish Kevin Barnes worked more with Janelle Monae. This album, as far as I know, does not have a colored vinyl release, but has a really nice gatefold, and the packaging is top-notch. Beautiful cover art. and I definitely recommend, if you're not familiar with their stuff, starting here. Number 72, Phoenix, Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix. This is an album that I heavily overplayed for myself. I think most of us did when we first heard it. In the span of 3 years, I saw this band 5 times. The first time was at a tiny festival in the south of France called the Gardinef Festival, and it was amazing. They were a band that I had never heard of. They just were simple on stage, 4 dudes making great music, and the next time I saw them, after this album came out and they were touring for it, there was a light show, it was packed out, they had a completely different confidence about them, and it was awesome getting to see them in both variations. From their catalog, there are other albums I really enjoy, including Alphabetical, and It's Never Been Like That, but for me, this one checks all the boxes. These French legends came together and fused sugary synth pop and indie rock in a way that was not cheesy, but masterful. Every single song gets stuck in your head, but not just because they're catchy, they're well constructed and brilliant. The first 2 tracks, Listomania and 1901, were everywhere when they came out. You couldn't walk into a mall or a store or listen to the radio without hearing them. But my favorite cuts on the record are Fences and Lasso. Also worth mentioning, Love Like a Sunset Part 1 and 2 are incredible. I have a limited version of this. I know Vinyl Me Please just did a remaster on, I'm not sure if it's colored vinyl, but it has like a really shiny cover. But I prefer this original limited press. I think it was an overseas press on white vinyl. I'd say this is mandatory listening for anyone. Number 71, The Hold Steady, Boys and Girls in America. This album hit me at the right time in my life. I haven't been able to really get into some of their other stuff the way that I love this record, but someone showed me this when I was having some massive nights of my own back in college, and something about the raucous Americana with Craig Finn's talk singing that's so infectious, mixed with some of the quieter ballads on the album like Citrus, made this just an incredible listen. The arguably self-conscious and reflective lyrics are wrapped up in soaring instrumentals and extremely chantable choruses. This is an album to play at a bar and sing along with all your friends. Also, Franz Nicolay's keyboard playing is top-notch. This album is just a beautiful splattered tableau of youth, and I think it's very relatable for anyone that's growing up or my age or even older. Nice gatefold packaging, and there is a cool variant with this, but unfortunately, even though the record itself looks very cool, I can't stand by this pressing. It comes with some bonus tracks, which is fun to have extra songs from these sessions, but ultimately, this is a disappointing pressing sonically, and my hope is that one day MOV or MoFi will do a pressing of this that will really do this album justice. Alright guys, that is the next installation. We are churning through this list. I hope you guys have enjoyed what you've heard so far. Make sure you leave a comment below with what you thought of my picks and even any of the picks from the previous videos. I hope that you spent some time with them and really fallen in love with these albums the way I have. Alright guys, as you know, please leave a like on this video, make sure you're subscribed to Too Many Records, and there'll be more installations of my top 100 sooner than you think. Take it easy guys.